You're listening to The Adventures of Clemmer the Cat. This is story number 2, The Falcon Fight, read by John Horton. Clemmer had faced a venomous snake and won, but nothing could have prepared her for what was watching from the old oak tree. Will Clemmer be able to face her fears? Will she be brave enough to rescue her newfound family? Listen until the end to find out what happens during the biggest battle of Clemmer's life. 3 months had passed since Clemmer claimed her family, and life at the farm was sweeter than she'd ever imagined. Her scraggly fur had grown sleek and soft, her ribs no longer showed through her sides, and every morning she woke up on Loic's bed surrounded by the sounds of a house full of love. Well, almost every morning. "Paddington," Clemmer hissed, discovering her breakfast bowl licked clean. Again. The enormous orange cat looked up from his spot in the sunny windowsill, whiskers still glistening with her food. Oh, was that yours? I couldn't tell. It was just sitting there unguarded. I was gone for 2 minutes, Clemmer exclaimed. Should have eaten faster. Paddington yawned, showing all his teeth, then settled back into his sunny spot like a furry loaf of bread. Besides, you're getting plump. I'm doing you a favor. Clemmer wanted to argue, but the children's voices drifted up from downstairs, and her irritation melted away. Even a stolen breakfast couldn't dampen her joy. She had a family, a real, forever family. She wouldn't trade it for anything. But not everything at the farm was peaceful. For the past 2 weeks, something had been terrorizing the chickens. It started with torn netting on the coop. Raccoons, Papa had said, reinforcing the mesh wire. Then one morning they found feathers scattered across the pasture like snow. The falcon had arrived. Clemmer had seen it from a distance. A red-tailed falcon with wings that stretched wider than Loic was tall. It perched in the old oak tree near the pasture, watching, waiting, patient as stone. It's just doing what falcons do, Mama had explained to the worried children, hunting to survive. But then came the day that changed everything. Eva had been gathering eggs, her sparkly shoes walking carefully through the chicken yard, when a small chick, barely bigger than a dandelion puff, squeezed through a gap in the fence. The falcon, watching from its perch, tilted its head. Eva saw it happen in terrible slow motion. The falcon launched from the branch. Wings spread wide, talons extended. The chick peeped once, a tiny, helpless sound. Then the falcon snatched it up and was gone. Eva had run into the house, crying so hard she couldn't speak. Mama held her while she sobbed. They needed those chickens, for eggs, for selling, for the farm to survive. But more than that, Eva was terrified. I'm scared to go back out there, she whispered that night at dinner. What if it comes back? What if it gets me? It won't get you, sweetie, Papa said gently. You're far too big. But Eva's eyes said she didn't believe him. The next week, it was Maella's turn to watch the chickens. Clemmer sat on the porch beside Paddington, grooming her paws in the morning sun. Through the window, she could see Eva pressed against the glass, watching her sister nervously. That falcon's going to come back, Paddington said lazily. They always do. Easy pickings. Clemmer's ears swiveled toward him. Someone should stop it. Paddington's eyes were half closed. Probably, but not you. Why not me? Because, little sister, I've seen plenty of cats your size go after birds of prey. His voice was casual, almost bored. None of them came back. Clemmer's tail twitched. I fought a copperhead. Snakes don't have talons or beaks that can crack bones or the ability to carry you off into the sky. Paddington stretched, his claws extending and retracting. Just saying. Don't be a hero. You've only got 9 lives, and you've probably already used one. Before Clemmer could respond, a scream split the air. Maela! Eva's voice high and terrified. Clemmer's head whipped toward the pasture. There, diving from the oak tree like a stone from the heavens, was the falcon, and there, standing frozen in the middle of the chicken yard, was Maela. But the falcon wasn't aiming for Maela. It was aiming for the fat brown hen pecking at the ground beside her feet. Eva threw open the door, just a crack, just enough. Clemmer didn't think. She moved. Her paws hit the porch steps, the ground, the grass, all in a blur. The world narrowed to one thing, the falcon, dropping like lightning toward that hen. Clemmer had 3 seconds, maybe less. She poured every ounce of speed into her legs. The chicken yard fence loomed ahead, too high to jump, too solid to break through. So Clemmer didn't try. She launched herself at the fence post, claws digging into wood, scrambling up and over in a move that would have made Paddington's eyes pop. The falcon's talons were inches from the hen's back when Clemmer slammed into its side. The impact sent them both tumbling across the dirt. Feathers exploded into the air. Brown hen feathers, gray falcon feathers, and Clemmer's own orange fur flying. The hen squawked and ran for cover. Mila stumbled backward, eyes huge. Clemmer and the falcon rolled to a stop. For one heartbeat, they stared at each other. The falcon was enormous up close. Its eyes were fierce and golden, like coins on fire. Its beak was curved and sharp as any knife Clemmer had ever seen. And its wings, oh, its wings could create wind that pushed against her like invisible hands. "You," the falcon said in the language of wild things, its voice like wind over stone, "are a very scared little cat." Clemmer's heart hammered, but she didn't back down. "Leave our chickens alone." The falcon's head tilted, almost curious. "I fought foxes, coyotes, even a young bobcat once." It flexed its talons, curved, black, deadly. "What makes you think a house cat can stop me?" "Because," Clemmer hissed, her back arching, "I'm not just a house cat. I'm their cat, and I protect what's mine." The falcon lunged. Clemmer had fought the copperhead with desperate instinct, but this was different. The falcon was fast, impossibly fast. Its wings buffeted her, throwing her off balance. Its talons raked her shoulder, and pain blazed hot and sharp. Clemmer yowled and twisted, sinking her teeth into the falcon's leg. It shrieked, a sound like metal scraping metal, and yanked away. Blood, warm and foreign, filled Clemmer's mouth. "You'll regret that," the falcon hissed. It came at her again, and this time Clemmer was ready. She ducked under a wing, claws raking across its chest. Dove left when talons swept toward her face, jumped back when its beak snapped closed where her ear had been. But the falcon was strong, so strong. A wing caught Clemmer across the side and sent her sprawling. Her head cracked against a rock, and stars burst behind her eyes. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard Miella crying. "Get up," Clemmer told herself. "Get up, get up, get up." She staggered to her feet, blood dripping from a dozen small cuts. The falcon stood between her and Miella now, its golden eyes calculating, weighing. It had realized something. This cat was protecting the girl, and the girl was much easier prey than the cat. "No," Clemmer breathed. The falcon's wings spread wide. "You're tired, little cat. You can barely stand. Just let me." It turned toward Miella, and something inside Clemmer ignited. She'd been abandoned once, left behind, helpless and alone. She'd promised herself, promised that she would never let anyone she loved feel that way. Not while she still had breath in her body, not while she still had lives to give. With a yowl that came from the very center of her soul, Clemmer launched herself at the falcon's back. Her claws found purchase between its wings. Her teeth sank into the base of its neck. Not to kill, she wasn't trying to kill, but to stop, to make it understand that this farm, these chickens, this little girl, they were not prey. They were hers. The falcon thrashed, powerful and panicked now. It spun in circles, trying to shake her off, but Clemmer held on. Her claws raked down, finding the wing joint, and she pulled with everything she had. Feathers tore free. The falcon's shriek turned from rage to pain. And then, with a violent twist, Clemmer's teeth found something that gave way with a sound like tearing cloth. Part of the falcon's wing, a section of feathers and skin, came away in her mouth. The falcon screamed. It threw Clemmer off with one final desperate heave. She hit the ground hard, the breath knocked from her lungs. Through blurry eyes, she saw the falcon stagger, one wing dragging, blood staining its beautiful gray feathers. Their eyes met one last time. The falcon's expression was no longer arrogant. It was shocked, afraid. It knew it had lost. With a pained cry, the falcon launched itself into the air. Its flight was crooked, uneven, one wing not working properly. But it flew away from the farm, away from the chickens, away from Clemmer. It wouldn't be back. Clemmer knew it in her bones. The falcon had learned the same lesson the copperhead had learned. This family was protected. But as the adrenaline faded, Clemmer felt everything at once. The cuts on her shoulder, the scrape on her head, the deep, bone-tired exhaustion that made her legs shake. She'd almost lost. Clemmer. Small arms wrapped around her, gentle and careful. Mela knelt in the dirt, her face streaked with tears, cradling Clemmer like something precious. "You saved me," Mela whispered. "You saved me and the chickens, and you were so, so brave." Clemmer wanted to purr, to tell Maela she was okay, but everything hurt. She felt like she had, in the old days, scraped up, battle-worn, alone against the world, except she wasn't alone anymore. Papa carried Clemmer inside while Mama brought the medical supplies. The children crowded around, even Eva, her fear forgotten in her worry for Clemmer. "Is she okay?" Loic asked, his voice tight. "She will be," Mama said, cleaning Clemmer's wounds with gentle hands. "She's a fighter. Look at these scars. She's been through worse." But had she? Clemmer wasn't sure. The falcon had been so strong. If it had caught her with those talons just right, if its beak had struck her head instead of missing by inches, she could have lost a life, maybe even used up her first one right there in the chicken yard. The thought made her shiver. "You're going to be okay," Mila whispered, stroking Clemmer's head while Mama worked. "You're the bravest cat in the whole world." Clemmer's purr was weak, but it was there. From the windowsill, Paddington watched. When their eyes met, he gave the smallest, slowest blink, the cat equivalent of respect. "Told you not to be a hero," he said, but his voice was softer than usual, almost proud. That night, after the wounds were bandaged and the children had finally gone to bed, Clemmer lay curled in Maela's arms instead of Loic's. The little girl had refused to let her go. "Thank you for protecting me," Maela breathed into Clemmer's fur. "I was so scared." Clemmer purred harder. "Me too," she wanted to say. "I was terrified, but she'd done it anyway." That's what family meant, she realized. It meant being scared and doing it anyway. It meant fighting when you wanted to run. It meant loving someone so much that their safety mattered more than your own. Through the window, Clemmer could see the oak tree where the falcon used to perch. It was empty now, just branches and moonlight. She'd protected her family, kept them safe, done what needed to be done, but she'd also learned something important. Bravery had a cost. Every time she risked herself, she was gambling with something precious, her life, her future with this family she loved so much. Paddington was right. She only had 9 lives, and she'd probably just used her second one. But as Mila's breathing deepened into sleep, as the house settled into peaceful quiet, Clemmer thought maybe, just maybe, some things were worth the risk. Her family was one of them, always. The end. Thanks for listening. This has been a New Culture audio production, read by John Horton. Stay tuned for the next book in the series, The Adventures of Clemmer the Cat and the Mischievous Mouse. Until next time.